Good afternoon, traders and investors. Will back here with another one, coming to you with a Monday market update. Hope you guys had a great weekend. So guys, we have just wrapped up the first 5 days of trading into 2024. And it seems as though a lot of other channels seem to be very focused on the statistics behind what happens if you end positive or negative after those first 5 days of trading. So we'll take a look at some of those statistics too and see if, in my opinion, they hold true or not as a good indicator of what could potentially happen this year. And now as well, NVIDIA cracking to new all-time highs. They had a very nice event here today where they released a slew of new graphics card series. So we're going to be taking a look at that while we do the technical analysis on NVIDIA's chart. And lastly, guys, Elon Musk once again getting caught up in the headlines. Wall Street Journal article came out the other day and painted him as been using drugs for the past couple of years. So we will also take a look into that and see if it holds any weight and any influence whatsoever for Tesla stock. The hit pieces against Elon Musk are no stranger to this market. They happen every single year, so we will look into that one as well. And without further ado, guys, we will cover our major indexes as usual, our major tech names, and lastly, take a look at my portfolio to conclude the video. So without further ado, let's get right into it here, guys, today. So today, SPY up very decently here, guys. Bulls in full recovery mode after our weekly consolidation. SPY up 1.43%. The NASDAQ QQQ's up 2.07% and continued rotation into financials and healthcare. Very, very healthy market indeed. Take a look at the one-day relative performance here. On the heat map, you'll see big tech, massive recovery here, mostly led by semiconductors, but tech as a whole, very good performance on the day. Financials, healthcare holding their own, and very nice broad market performance as a whole here, guys. Except, of course, for energy, which had a little bit of decline, which I'll reiterate, every time you see energy coming down, that is just good for your inflation numbers. On the one-day relative performance here on the graphs, you can see that everything was in the green here today, as opposed to last week's major sell-off, and was led by technology, of course, energy in the red, everything else in the green here. 1 week relative, you'll see that healthcare and financials continue to be our outperformance, while QQQ tech bulls were taking a break. Financials and healthcare were there to pick up the slack, and that's exactly what we wanted to see. That is the indication that your S&P 500 is healthy. When your tech bulls take a break, is the rest of the market there to recover? And as we were been showcasing over the last week in the channel, that was why I was telling you guys that the market was healthy and that the correction was a very healthy pullback, because financials and healthcare were pulling the rest of the weight while tech took a little bit of profit taking breather. So as a whole here, guys, let's get into the first 5 days of trading, right? So you guys may or may not, if you watch any other channels, you may or may not have seen this so far. The S&P 500's first 5 trading days may indicate full year performance. That doesn't bode well for stocks in 2024. Well, this article was written pretty much on Saturday after, before today's recovery, essentially. So if we take a clear look here in terms of the first day of the market, you will actually see that we are actually now returning to positive territory on the S&P 500 ever so slightly, right? So in the first 5 days of trading, we are still negative as opposed to how the trading ended here in relation to the end of the year. So we are still negative here by about 0.4% on the SPY. And on QQQ as well, we are still negative here as well by about 0.981%, let's call it, to the downside. So is this a good indication of how the market's going to perform during the year? Let's take a look at what the statistics say here, guys. So historically, large cap US equity benchmark SPX has seen its performance in the first 5 trading days and over the full year correlate in the same direction 69% of the time, meaning first 5 days of the trading year are positive, usually the market ends positive for the year. If you're negative, well, usually your full year goes negative. And this has held true apparently for 69% of the time, based on the Dow Jones market data going back to 1950. In election years, such as this year, that correlation took place 83% of the time. The trend is also held true in 8 of the last 12 years and in 14 of the last presidential election years. However, guys, okay, I would take this information with a grain of salt because they are just indeed statistics. And for every time that it does happen, there's also a handful of times where it does not happen. And take a look here in the last 23 years, what exactly has occurred. So if we go back all the way, this is your .com bubble, right? So obviously 2001 started off negative, ended the year negative. But look at 2002. Outlier. Started off the first 5 trading days here positive, which is your dark blue line, first 5 days change, but ended the year negative. We were still in the .com bubble, still in recovery territory. And now take a look, there's a few more outliers, guys, which really, this is why you have to take these statistics with a grain of salt, right? Take a look, 2005 right here. You started the first 5 days negative and ended the year positive. Same thing happened in 2007, started off negative, then you went positive. 2008, great financial crisis, bit of an outlier here, right? So negative, massively negative, but that was for external catalysts. And now, again, the outliers do continue here, right? So in 2014, started the year off negative by about the same percentage as we are today. And look, had the end of the year here with about 11, 12% positive gain. Once again, another outlier here in 2016, started off the year minus 5% in the first 5 days of trading and still ended up with a very good year. So correlation once again falling apart here. And another outlier in 2018, here we started off the year positive. So should, in terms of statistics, carry through the rest of the year remaining positive, right? Nope, went negative on the year. And now your last one here was pretty much in 2022 when we started the year negative, and that was pretty much the beginning of the asset recession after inflation was really peaking. You had a number of worries in terms of the whole R versus U situation in Europe. You had supply chain constraints. You had a lot of bad things going on at the same time. Company earnings starting to dwindle and worries of a wage price spiral in the US economy as well. So very bad year in terms of catalyst was 2022, and that was indeed the true recession. I don't believe the recession is coming in 2024. You may have an economic ever so slight recession if the jobs market falls apart in 2024, but I don't believe that's going to happen. The Fed will probably not let that happen, as a matter of fact. So 2022 was your asset recession, and if you guys know anything about economic cycles, your asset and stock recessions in terms of descending asset values usually happens about 6 to 12 months before a true economic recession. So your bottoming in assets was pretty much in 2022, in my opinion. 2024 should be a fairly good year. Now, so this correlation doesn't always hold true, guys. So just take these statistics with a grain of salt whenever you see them. They're made to generate headlines. In my opinion, I'll reiterate just very, very quickly what's going to happen for 2024. I think we're going to have a very bullish market. Now, obviously, it's very difficult for anybody to predict the future 6, 12, even 3 months out, guys. That's why on this channel, we focus on who is in long-term control now. If you take a look at the markets here, guys, in terms of the technicals, the bulls are in full control of your monthly charts. It's going to take a lot of time for the bears to reverse the longer-term timeframes. Even on your weekly timeframes, the bulls control the weekly uptrends as well. So as long as the trend is your friend, we will remain bullish on this market. In terms of macro catalysts, guys, well, it's very, very, very simple, right? Inflation is dead. It's going away. Forget it's even here. Could we take more time to kind of squeeze it down to 2%? Yes, but most of the inflation has been pulled out of the market. And every single week, I'm looking for catalysts to bring back inflation higher, and we're just not seeing them, guys. So inflation, it is pretty much dead. It's a done story. The Fed has done a great job here. What we need to focus on this here, guys, is going to be jobs, the second mandate of the Federal Reserve. You guys saw that last week's video on Friday, I showed you the declining, ever so slightly declining tightness in the job market, meaning less and less job positions are being opened, but are still positive and are still healthy. Now, if the jobs market falls apart and no new jobs are created and the unemployment rate starts to rise because the Fed has kept rates for too long, then we are going to be in a little bit of a pickle, guys. So just keep an eye on the jobs market. It's the only thing that can potentially send the economy into a slight negative recessionary spiral here. That is the only thing. It won't be inflation, but like I've been saying, guys, I don't believe that the Fed is going to let that happen. They will cut rates before the jobs market slows right down to zero growth, jobs growth, and even goes negative, and before the unemployment rate starts to rise. So I don't believe the Fed is going to just let the economy tank itself without them being able to do something for it first. So keep in mind that I do believe that the Fed knows exactly what they're doing, and we should have a very bullish 2024 and in terms of your market performance here. So without further ado, guys, let's now get into your major technical analysis here for your indexes first, right? So what we were looking for last week, we were saying that the daily SPY bulls had lost the daily uptrend, right? So you lost your higher low right here, and the bears put in a new low. And I was saying, guys, when you lose the daily uptrend and you're into daily consolidation like this, and in weekly consolidation as well, as soon as you get your bounce, keep an eye on your 4-hour oversold conditions right down here. Keep an eye on your hourly trend change reversal, which was completed by the bulls today. That's what we were looking out for. When you have your lower time frame reversals, you're in for the daily bounce. So daily bounce is underway. Step number 2, the size of the bounce is key. Now look at this bounce the bulls have put in one single day on the fib. In one day, they've taken back 78.2% of the move. Let's call it 80%. So in one single trading day, they've taken back 80% of the entire bearish move. Now, in terms of probabilities, this sets up the bulls very, very good for either the V-shape to all-time high recoveries, or in the least, a two-step recovery whereby the bulls have now created enough space to potentially set, when this move tops out, a daily higher low for a new daily trend change to the bulls, which would end your weekly consolidation and put in the weekly higher low. Keep in mind, guys, we were always looking for that weekly higher low. And I told you guys, as soon as you lose the daily uptrend, you're into weekly consolidation. And it was just that weekly consolidation, looking for a weekly higher low. I was expecting the markets in the worst case to get all the way down here about your 460 area, 12 EMA, and previous resistance, which is now support. Didn't get all the way there before the bounce started here. So bulls looking very, very good. Recapture of the 12 EMA here. Full control of your short-term time frames, 4 hour as well. So now it is up to the bulls to prove to us, do they want to create a V-shape to the all-time highs, or will they potentially have to two-step this? All data indicates right now in terms of the technicals that they are set up to regain the daily uptrend here with such a heavy bounce. It's going to be very hard for the bears to flush this with such a heavy engulfing move to the upside, right? A small engulfing move and then move to the lower while losing the lower time frames here, not setting the hourly uptrend into today would have just meant that your daily downtrend would have continued, but now the bulls have shown up in a big way. Now moving on to QQQ, same principle on QQQ. QQQ had lost the daily uptrend, not setting the daily downtrend. Daily downtrend is lower low, lower high, and then new lower low, right? So all we had now is a loss of the daily uptrend, and we were looking for the lower high and then potential, see what the bulls are going to do with it. Are they going to protect the lows here? Right? Or are we going to allow the bears to flush it? That's what we were looking out for. We were keeping an eye on this zone right here, 395 all the way down to about 380 was your sweet spot. We were just once again looking on the weekly for weekly consolidation, right? New higher low, anything above 383, just looking for your higher low. And the bulls got it today here, right? So big reversal, setting the hourly trend change on the course of the day, setting the 4 hour trend change as well. Tons of space, set the new 4 hour higher lows as well. Continue this 4 hour uptrend here. And now the size of the bounce is crucial here, guys. How much of the bulls have recaptured on the daily dip here? Well, we've recaptured pretty much over 50% of the move in one day. You need to see the bulls get as high as the SPY bulls have, right? Anything pretty much get back up to 407, 408. That'll be pretty much a 80% retracement. And then the bulls will have enough space here to either V-shape back to all-time highs, regaining that trend, or potentially have to two-step this move here by doing this little higher high right here, higher low setup, higher high regain of the daily uptrend. And your bulls are in control. Why? Because they never lost the weekly, guys. We were just looking for a weekly higher low for further trend continuation. That's all that was. It was just healthy daily consolidation there, healthy weekly consolidation as well. And the 4 hour oversold conditions reacted beautifully. And once again, guys, your monthly bulls are in full control. So as I was saying, after December's momentum on QQQ, December's momentum on SPY, we were expecting a doji candle. And that's still what I'm expecting, something looking like this, whereby you retrace a little bit early in the month and then end the candle strong off of last month's bullish momentum. So that's pretty much everything for QQQ. XLF financials, XLF and XLV were pretty much the underlying, they were the silver lining in knowing whether or not your bulls were still in control of SPY. Well, the reason that they were still in control of SPY here is because while QQQ was having this heavy little dip here, you saw SPY did dip, but not dip as much, right? In terms of percentage losses here, SPY only dipping about 2% and QQQ dipping about double that, right? Almost 4% to the downside. Meanwhile, your other two heaviest sectors here in the S&P 500, financials and healthcare, what were they doing at the same time? Financials here, maintaining the tightening range at the top, never losing the 12 EMA. What was healthcare doing? Healthcare was just skyrocketing during that process, right? So that's why I was saying that QQQ was having a technical sell-off, a bit of profit taking after pretty much your last year's performance in big tech here. Well, on the 1 week relative, you'll see that they're the ones that majorly sold off here in the past. So that's what we're looking at. Only looking for correlation here, guys. It's the most important thing. If you see all three sectors dropping at the same time, QQQ, XLF, XLV, everything dropping at the same time, then you know that it's a larger market move here. But when you saw XLF and XLV holding the levels while QQQ was dropping, you knew that the rotation in the markets was healthy and institutions were still participating. They were just rotating the money out, taking profit from your big tech stocks, rotating them in to healthcare and financials, which, by the way, did not have outstanding performance in 2023, and they should have a year of outperformance in 2024 as that money continues to rotate into these they're not necessarily undervalued, but underperforming sectors in the last 12 months on a trailing basis. So XLF financials, right? Daily uptrend continues to be confirmed at this point, right? It's been a beautiful daily uptrend ever since November. Never lost a series of higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Now back on to higher highs. So your new daily higher low is set right here. 37.38 is going to be the mark. Any pullback at this point is just going to be looking for a daily higher low above 37.38 for further trend continuation. Bulls never having lost the weekly uptrend either. It's still a weekly one leg up. Never have any weekly consolidation like this, right? Where they do something like this. Not at all. It's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 weeks of up in this case right here. So if XLF and XLV continue rising a little bit, while QQQ has not yet fully recovered, it opens up the door here, guys, to where when XLF and XLV potentially have their weekly consolidation, QQQ may just have a little bit of room to run. But as of now, bulls are in full control of this daily uptrend at this point. 12 EMA should be your guide. And in terms of the weekly as well, weekly bulls are in full control now, well above this area of resistance. So creating a ton of space. Any pullback here, guys, should be met with heavy support by the bulls down here in this 37, 36 area. If ever we do pull back, keep in mind here, guys, right? Your financials earnings are all on Friday. We have one healthcare name in United Health, one of the best stocks in the healthcare market. They are a bit rich right now, but they're an insurance provider, right? So it's very hard to play a lot of healthcare companies because they don't have consistent revenue. A lot of companies that do drug patents, well, there's a lot of red tape in the way, and that's why their revenues can vary. But United Health, the reason that it performs so well all the time here, guys, even though it is pretty much relatively close to the all-time highs, the valuation isn't too bad here, but not at a very steep discount nonetheless. Well, the reason that they perform so well is because they're an insurance provider here, guys. They make money hand over fist just selling health insurance, and that's why they're steadily able to increase revenue every single year and don't have many pushbacks at all. They're not filing drug patents. They're not trying to develop new drugs or vaccines or stuff like that. They're not in biotech either. So a lot of those other healthcare sectors can be tough to play, but this one is pretty much a no-brainer. Very clear business model. Not a lot of red tape in the way of that, except for sometimes government intervention here in terms of healthcare insurance plans in the US, right? So XLV here. So in terms of your XLF here, just keep an eye, guys. Mostly all the bank earnings here, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, even BlackRock, Citigroup coming in as well, and BNY Mellon will be on Friday, kicking off our earnings for financials. So if ever they're not good, I do expect them to be quite good. As a matter of fact, with interest rates potentially coming down here, right? I do expect them to be fairly good, but in terms of the guidance, of course, but if for ever which reason they're bad, guys, just keep an eye, guys. This big area of support is going to be absolutely beautiful for a little bit of a pullback. XLV Healthcare. So XLV Healthcare, guys, performing absolutely beautifully, right? Daily higher low is set at this point, right? Another daily higher low is set. This whole beautiful daily move up. Slight little bit of daily consolidation while QQQ was consolidating. XLV was mooning. So now your daily higher low is set. 138.50 is going to be your new daily higher low. So any pullback at this point when the bulls are topping out, just keep an eye for your daily higher low. Anything above 138.60 is going to be that mark. Getting a bit extended now from your 12 EMA. And you can see every time we get a bit too extended from the 12 EMA after a monster move here, it does tend to pull back into it. But bulls are still set up healthily, guys. But if for whatever reason we lose the series of daily highs or higher lows, let's say XLF and XLV take a little bit of a breather after such a beautiful move, well, tons of space for the pullback here, guys. 10, 11 weeks in a row as well. So if we do get a little bit of a pullback here, guys, 136.50 all the way down to pretty much your 132.50 as well is going to be that area of consolidation. Now we're starting to challenge here, guys, getting up to the 141 level, right? 141, 142. That's your all-time highs, and healthcare looking beautiful. Why? Monthly breakout pattern on healthcare. So everything looking perfect for healthcare, in my opinion, right now. Running a little bit hot on the RSI. So a pullback could be warranted, but just know that, as I was saying with SPY, when we were all the way up here, any pullback is just healthy consolidation. This is just the same. Any extended pullback here, even if you lose the daily higher highs and higher lows, set the daily downtrend, healthy weekly consolidation for your higher time frame bulls. Now moving on to IWM Russell. IWM Russell recovering beautifully here, guys, after having lost the daily uptrend here, setting the daily downswing in motion. Daily downtrend, we're still looking out here for your daily lower high, right? So SPY, you can see, recovered a lot in relation to this move. QQQ recovered about 50% of the move. Well, IWM Russell fell a lot, right? Fell pretty much the most of everyone. And you're talking about over almost 6.5% here. So normal that it takes a bit over the 1 day to recover all of that, right? So even though they're up about 2%, they still have a long way to go here, guys. So probabilities do indicate we're still expecting the lower high. Just we need to measure the size of the bounce, right? So your hourly bulls are now back into control, resetting the hourly uptrend to the upside, resetting your 4-hour uptrend to the upside. So we'll see how long they can maintain this daily bounce here. As of now, it's still a bit too shallow, right? If you put the fib on this right now, you'll see that they've only recovered about 38.2%. The move stops out right here and starts trending to the lows here. Probabilities would indicate that we are going to set a lower low potentially and start challenging these 187 levels right here. But if the bounce continues here, guys, over and above all the way back to about $200, your bulls can be really set to either recapture the all-time highs if the markets continue moving to the upside here, or at least have a chance at setting a daily higher low and resetting the daily uptrend to the upside. So all is not safe yet for the Russell here. We are still expecting a lower high. It just depends how high will this lower high be? Will it be right here before reversing? Will it be all the way up here, which gives the bulls the best chance at resetting the daily uptrend? That is what we need to see. And you'll know your daily lower high is set when your bulls will have lost this hourly uptrend, right? As soon as you see that reverse, that's when you know your daily lower high is set. Then we measure how high has the bounce gotten as a whole. That gives you the best probabilities here in terms of knowing whether or not you'll be able to set a new daily uptrend right here, or if the bears are going to roll this over. And we'll keep an eye on this every single day on the channel. In terms of the weekly here, guys, weekly pullback is very, very healthy nonetheless here. We really pretty much tagged almost the 191.84 area. That was your previous area of a bit of a resistance right here. You can see, guys, that it's acted this way in the past, right? Over here and over here as well. So play it again as pretty much support this time around, right? I was expecting in terms of the worst case scenario in the mid 180s. Doesn't look like we're going to get there, especially after the bounce here on your major indexes today. But we will see, even if we do trend all the way down there, if we give back this entire move right here, weekly higher low is expected for a weekly trend continuation in the rest of 2024. Looking healthy, guys. Dow Jones moving back up, challenging your new all-time highs at this point. So Dow Jones never lost the daily uptrend, right? Never lost the higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. Now setting the higher lows here with today's low pretty much because we've taken out 2 previous days of highs right now. So now we are moving back up to your all-time highs, 37,800 roughly. Set the higher low here. Higher low is going to be today's candle, 37,260, right? Daily higher highs, higher lows, the higher lows, and now moving on to potentially higher highs for the Dow Jones. No red flags whatsoever, but if we do roll over, right, just keep an eye. Healthy weekly consolidation. Even after the last 2 weeks of sideways move, this is still just weekly consolidation. If ever we lose the pattern on the daily, 12 EMA should be your guide as well. Look, they never lost it the entire rally since November. If we lose it, set the daily downtrend, no problem at all, guys. Weekly bulls have tons of space, anything above 32,400. Just looking for a higher low in the markets here for a potential trend continuation. Keep an eye. Previous all-time highs, these 2 yellow lines should be the sweet spot. 12 EMA is right there as well. If we do pull back, and monthly breakout right now is well under motion by the Dow Jones. Should be expecting more continuation after November, December momentum. Wouldn't surprise me if January is very bullish for this as well. Now let's move on to crypto here, guys. So crypto, Bitcoin ETF should be approved by Wednesday by BlackRock. So the filings were put in today, and it is stipulated that everything should be well and approved on Wednesday. So when that happens on Wednesday, we will be going over all the different Bitcoin ETFs that you can buy and their MERs, so their management expense ratios, see how much it will cost you on an annual basis to participate in those ETFs if you don't have any crypto wallets with Coinbase or another broker perhaps. So we're going to keep an eye on that. But that news was enough to create a massive candle for Bitcoin here today, right? Almost over, almost 7% day on Bitcoin here today, really breaking out of this bullish flag right here, this bullish tightening range. And that's what we were saying here, guys. Weekly bull flag. It was a weekly bull flag as well. Clear as day right here. Consolidation at the top of the move, and the lean was bullish. Why? Well, your monthly bulls were in full control. Monthly expansion right here. Your weekly bulls were in full control. Consolidation, bull flagging here at the top, and bears inability after challenging the lower 42,000 range for so many times, inability to close below, which just perpetuated this tightening range here. And now we have the break. So your daily uptrend is now recaptured by your daily bulls, everything looking very bullish. Weekly uptrend now, weekly uptrend just reconfirmed by the bulls at this point. Now your upside resistance targets remain 47,000, roughly where we are now, all the way up to about 51.5. That's going to be this whole previous area right here. You see it best on the weekly. Big zone of supply, right? This whole range, 47,000 to about 52,000. That's about a 10% range here. But the bulls are in absolute full control here, guys, at this point, right? So any move lower at this point, just going to be looking for a higher low, anything above 43,250 at this point, just looking for a higher low for further trend continuation. And now this whole area, guys, 45K. That previous resistance, going to be very nice support. So we'll see how high they can take this. Ethereum not breaking out. So Bitcoin continuing to lead the move here in terms of the breakout. Look, Ethereum still not breaking out of its range, still trying to challenge here the higher 2400 range, still not doing it, even though they put in about 5% day yesterday. Beautiful day carrying off the back of Bitcoin here, still not above. So Ethereum still a bit lagging, still trapped in this daily tightening range and still trapped in this weekly bull flag pretty much. But that's just what it is. It's a weekly bull flag similar to what Bitcoin was, consolidation at the top end of your weekly move. That's exactly what you want to see. Wouldn't surprise me if Bitcoin continues the momentum to the upside. If you do see a break here of the higher levels, 2,400 is going to be the break mark for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, That would really put your daily uptrend back in motion. It would put your weekly continuation of the weekly uptrend back in motion and would just simply continue this beautiful monthly upswing on Ethereum. Your next area of resistance on Ethereum is pretty much 2,700, right? $2,700 is going to be the next big area of resistance. So keep an eye on the break for that. Now let's move on to our big tech stocks. And big tech, look at this list here, guys. Very good recovery by big tech. So Apple first. Apple, after having dipped into this lower area here, guys, this was the sweet spot. I have not moved it this entire time. It stayed the same. And look, dipped into the sweet spot here, 181 all the way down to about 175. Hard rejection here. And Apple was daily oversold. When Apple gets daily oversold, guys, it usually tends to bounce fairly quickly here. You'll see, even though it can continue a little bit further to the downside, the bounce is usually coming, guys, as soon as we break this RSI. So you see right here, this zone right here, right? Comes a daily oversold, consolidation for a little bit of a stop loss hunt, and then Apple moves back to the upside. You see it right here as well. Daily oversold conditions leads into the November bounce right here. Every time that Apple hits daily oversold, look back here, right? 127 mark back in December 22, daily oversold on the RSI as well. Nice little bounce. Daily oversold right here back in October. Nice little consolidation bounce as well. So every time Apple comes to oversold conditions, it usually does get a bounce. Now, can the daily downtrend continue after the bounce? Yes, but the bounce is pretty much assured that it will happen. How high, how much, and will it lead to further bearish downtrend continuation? That's what you have to monitor for. But so far, the bounce underway here. Bulls retaking the hourly uptrend here, shaped up beautifully with the pre-market into normal trading hours here. So hourly bulls full control. Your 4-hour bounce is underway as well, which is leading into the daily bounce, of course. Now, let's see how high the bounce gets. Apple not out of the woods yet, not calling the bottom, right? So the bears did a great job here with the daily downtrend. Now, need to measure the size of the bounce in relation to 194.35. This area is key. So how much of this move have we recaptured so far? Not that much, only 38.2%. So if this move were to top out tomorrow and we roll over, the probabilities would favor lower high and lower low continuation here. So it will only change when the bulls get above the following level. When we get above the 0.618, then you can say the probabilities have shifted. So if we get above 189 here, the bounce continues above 189. That gives the bulls the best opportunity here, guys, to set up for a daily trend change. So that is what we're going to be looking for. The size of the bounce is absolutely crucial to measure on Apple. In terms of the weekly here, Apple having lost the weekly uptrend, not setting the weekly downtrend. Weekly downtrend is this: lower high, lower low. So this is just weekly consolidation, loss of the weekly uptrend here. And now we're going to be looking how high can this daily move, right? If this daily move continues to in motion, reset the daily uptrend, let's say, well, then we're going to be looking how high can the weekly go? Is the weekly going to be able to V-shape this as it's done sometimes in the past, right? Apple has done this, right? On the last move there, V-shape recovery, retest, and then break. So now we will see, can they do the same thing in terms of having a one-time V-shaped recovery? Or will we have to potentially two-step this to reset the weekly uptrend? Nonetheless, Apple bulls on the higher time frames, full control. Monthly, just a tight monthly consolidation range here. That's why this sweet spot was so crucial, looking for the perpetuation of this tightening range. Apple obviously with earnings here in a couple of weeks on Thursday, the 1st of February. So we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, a lot of bad news has been plaguing Apple, but Apple with a decent start to the recovery. So we'll keep an eye on this one every single day. But one thing's for sure, if for some reason we break lower into this area, guys, that's my sweet spot. We'll be picking up Apple. Now moving on to AMD. AMD with a heck of a recovery here, guys. So losing the daily uptrend, AMD was at the middle point of last week, flush the lows right here. So loss of the daily uptrend, we were looking for the lower high. That is the most probability, the highest probability scenario. You're looking for a lower high. But AMD bulls are back with a vengeance here, right? Are we going to be able to V-shape this, or will we get a lower high and then potentially challenge to reset a daily uptrend, putting a daily higher low? One thing's for sure, with such a big engulfing move to the upside now at this point, guys, bulls have recaptured over your 618 level. Almost 80% of this downswing has been recaptured by your bulls. So the probabilities now favor a daily uptrend reversal by the bulls. They can either V-shape this in one shot if they want, but now they are set up beautifully with enough space to do the two-step as well. So we're going to be keeping a close eye at that. Keep an eye on your hourly uptrend here. As soon as your bulls lose this hourly uptrend here, your daily move up is finished, and then we'll be looking for the higher low. We'll see if that happens or if they just smash right through your previous 52-week highs here. AMD looking beautiful. Why? We were always looking out for the weekly higher low for further trend continuation. Monthly and weekly bulls were in full control. That's how you know that these daily dips are for buying when your longer term bulls are in full control. We were keeping an eye here, guys. 132 down to 128 was your sweet spot. Didn't quite get there. Got us low at about 133. So this would have been a great opportunity to write puts in this area here when you had 4-hour oversold conditions into those lows. So hope some of you guys were able to catch a bit of AMD on that dip. But now, one thing's for sure, bulls looking great for a potential daily trend reversal back to the bulls, and just consolidate this as your weekly higher low being set 133.65 for another weekly leg up. Moving on to Amazon here. So Amazon doing fairly well in terms of recovery here, guys. 2.66% to the upside. So Amazon had set the daily downtrend here, deep bear cut into this move, but we were keeping an eye on this chop zone, right? So I don't know why my previous line was erased, but the line was pretty much right here. It was around 148 all the way down to pretty much your zone right here of about 140. That was the chop zone we were looking out for Amazon to recover. Why? Because it was previous weekly resistance. Big chop zone as we set the weekly higher lows to move higher. So it would stand to argue that this zone was going to hold up pretty well. Your 12 EMA was right there. And look, the bulls reacted beautifully from your weekly 12 EMA as well. We were looking out for the weekly higher low. Anything pretty much above 142.83 was your weekly higher low. So we pretty much got that on Amazon. Amazon looking very good. In terms of the size of the move here, guys, just measure the size of the bounce, right? Daily bulls are now starting to recontrol this chart. The hourly trend change is completed by the bulls as well. Your 4-hour trend change is complete. So this move has some decent momentum to it. So we need to measure the size of the move, guys, in relation to your pretty much 154.76. How high can the bulls get? We're expecting, because the bear set the daily downtrend, we're expecting a lower high. How high? As the same as all this big tech and your indexes, right? How high will the bounce get? Anything above 150.71 sets up the bulls very beautifully to two-step this. It's going to be coming back above this area of support, then potentially retesting it, and now moving above, resetting the daily uptrend would be the most likely scenario. But if the bullish momentum keeps up, guys, they could just recapture this in one V shape. So we're going to keep an eye on this, guys. And the worst case scenario is you lose your hourly trend right away into tomorrow and the rest of the week's trading. You stop your daily move higher right here with your moving averages. And then, well, the bulls haven't taken back enough to guarantee a daily higher low and higher high. This would favor a probability to the downside lower low continuation. So keep an eye on your lower time frames. The lower time frames are key to see when the bounce is over. But Amazon looking very good. Google, nice little recovery as well. 2.29% to the upside here. So Google as well. But Google is one of the few stocks with Meta that never lost the daily uptrend here. In comparison to a lot of the stocks and indexes we just went over, never lost the daily higher highs and higher lows. So this entire time we were just waiting pretty much, For your higher low, anything above 131.22 was just looking for a daily higher low. You can see we never really set a lower high and lower low in this case right here. So this was all one daily pullback move. We got the higher low today right now, 136.74. So we will see can Google just continue this move, this daily uptrend to the upside. In my opinion, guys, the rest of the market does stay bullish as well. Let's say there's no bad macro events. We have CPI on Thursday, so just keep that in mind here. But daily uptrend, guys, is very, very well underway here. The bulls putting a stop to the damage around the 137 mark. The weekly shows everything for Google here, guys, right? So pretty much weekly uptrend is confirmed. We were just looking after 2 weeks of consolidation for a weekly higher low. Anything above 129.23 was just looking weekly higher low for further trend continuation here. 12 EMA, great defense by the bulls, and the bears almost had the break of this range right here. You can see 140 down to 138 was this range. I really wanted the bulls to hold this range. It was previous resistance for a long time, lost it ever so slightly, and now we're actually back above the higher end of this range here, guys. So looking good for the bulls. Bulls playing great defense here. And the monthly uptrend is in full control by the bulls as well. So that's why it was a very, very easy buy the dip opportunity here. Any single drop was just weekly consolidation, looking for the weekly higher low for further trend continuation on Google. So Google looking very, very good indeed. Now moving on to Meta. Meta also, just like Google, never lost the daily uptrends. Very, very, very important, right? So daily uptrend was confirmed. Soon as we had the pullback, anything above 328.50 was just looking for your daily higher low for further trend continuation. Meta reacting beautifully from your previous zone of resistance right here, right? So previous resistance acted beautifully as newfound support here. And Meta just continuing this daily uptrend as if nothing happened. Daily higher lows are set right now at 341. So now the bears pretty much have lost the capacity at pretty much cutting too deep into this move, setting the daily downtrend. Bulls just recovering off the back of this momentum right here. Very, very good push to the upside here. Very close to new 52-week highs, 361.50. And on the weekly, guys, the weekly was very, very simple as well. We were only looking for weekly consolidation too. So not only were we looking for your daily higher lows here, we were also looking on any substantial pullback for a weekly higher low for further trend continuation. Bulls in full control of all the time frames right now. Weekly higher low is set 341.21. So now even if we do get a little bit of a pullback, could even just be a tightening range here or just a little bit of a higher low before they go. But I do think Meta is going to be able to break previous 52-week highs and just continue this uptrend into one more leg higher. Monthly bulls, full control at this point, guys. Really, really, really beautiful chart right here. So now we will be challenging previous all-time highs. That's all we have left in terms of resistance, guys, right? There's not much. We got through. We were talking about this last week. We got through our 353s, right? Now, the next stop here, guys, is the all-time highs. There's no resistance pretty much before that, right? So keep an eye on that on Meta. Meta was one of your more solid stocks throughout this entire dip here. Never lost a daily uptrend, the same as pretty much Google. So now moving on to Microsoft. Microsoft, guys, Microsoft still consolidating in our range here, but with the bullish momentum, Microsoft up 2% to the upside. So it wouldn't surprise me. We always had a bullish lean on this chart, guys, right? Even in terms of this range break, we always have a bullish lean. Why? Because your weekly bulls are in full control and your monthly bulls are also in full control of this chart. So monthly high, just looking for monthly higher lows on Microsoft before further monthly trend continuation on Microsoft, right? So that's why we have a fairly bullish lean leading into this range as a whole. But as a whole now, guys, still just a tightening range. So we're going to be expecting a break to the upside here. Break of the upside would just confirm a new daily uptrend here, guys. Would just confirm your weekly higher lows are set and on to a new weekly uptrend as well. But a break to the downside, guys, we talked about it all last week. Break to the downside, well, daily downtrend is set. Your weekly downtrend is set as well. Is that really that big of a deal? No. Why? We're just looking for a monthly higher low, guys. 355 down to 340 is the sweet spot for Microsoft bulls. Full control. No red flags for the company, guys. Just a little bit of cooling off after such a powerful move into the all-time highs. So keep an eye on the break of this range here, guys. I keep saying for Microsoft, either way is good. Break to the upside, Microsoft just remains a hold, but break to the downside, Microsoft becomes a buy, 355 down to 340 for 2024. Now moving on to Netflix. Netflix, very good recovery as well, 2.31% of the upside here, guys. Very good day on Netflix here. So Netflix, after having lost the daily uptrend right here, right? Losing the daily uptrend right here. The bulls coming back beautifully. We were saying last week, measure the size of the bounce here, guys, in relation to our most recent lower high. So measure the size of the bounce. And now the bulls putting in a heck of a bounce here over the 618 level, almost up to 80%. So now the bulls are favored for a recapture of the trend to the upside. Are we surprised, guys? No. Why? Similar to all the other stocks, and Netflix was just looking for a weekly higher low for further trend continuation. The bulls never lost the weekly uptrends on any of these charts, with the exception pretty much of Apple. Apple's the only one, right? But all the rest, weekly higher lows for further trend continuation of the upside. Netflix performing very, very beautifully. Monthly uptrend is also looking very good. Monthly bulls are in full control. That's why all extended dips are for buying, especially when you have beautiful locations like this, right? If we would have got down to this area, 450, 425, that would have just been a very beautiful monthly higher low for further trend continuation into 2024. No red flags for the business. I like how much of this move Netflix has taken back here. So now, as soon as this move tops out, going to be looking, can the bulls put in a higher low for further trend continuation? And the best case scenario is just V-shape and engulf this entire move, right? But the worst case scenario for the bulls right now, they have enough space to set up for your daily trend change and put in a higher low than 462.14. Looking very good. Now, NVIDIA, 6.5% to the upside here, guys. So headline on the day here, guys, NVIDIA launching, today was CES, right? So launching, NVIDIA's newest chips are designed to run AI at home as competition from Intel AMD looms. So NVIDIA tier today came out with 3 new graphics cards and kind of dropped their flagship product here to match AMD's pricing. So AMD's best card is about $1,000 here. And prior to that, NVIDIA's best card was $1,200. So there was a big price discrepancy of $200. Now, NVIDIA releasing their super line. So you can go, if you guys know a lot about video cards and graphics processing power, well, you guys can go to videocards.com and pull up this most recent article. Very, very good article that goes over the new releases by NVIDIA here. But more to say less, guys. What they did is they just released a brand new set of graphics cards, which is going to compete with AMD's highest line of graphics card for the same price. So a little bit of a price war going on between NVIDIA and AMD. The event was very, very well received here. NVIDIA is playing up to its strength in consumer GPUs for so-called local AI that can run on a PC or laptop from an office. So this new series of graphics card does have integrated AI capabilities. These chips have long been NVIDIA's bread and butter, aimed at running video games, but the company says this year's graphics cards have been improved with an eye toward running AI models without sending information back to the cloud. So that is a very, very good thing that NVIDIA has done here today. They're trying to integrate AI processing power into their more mainstream and retail cards, not just reserving them for their H100 units here that are more reserved for your data warehousing processing power to run large language models, such as, OpenAI's ChatGPT and stuff like that. So very good release here. They were very, very, very well received by the consumer today in terms of their news release. And that just helped them propel NVIDIA to all-time highs right here. So NVIDIA, this is what we were looking for here, guys, right? So after having lost the daily uptrend here, setting the daily downtrend, what were we looking out for here, guys? We were looking, number one, we were looking for the size of this bounce. As of Friday's video, the bounce was well underway here, right? Recapturing a lot of this move in only a couple of days of trading, but the weekly was key, guys. And you remember me saying this all the time, right? Why? Weekly tightening range, otherwise known as a bull flag. When you see a tightening range at the top of a previous range, at the top of a move right here, right? Holding the 12 EMA, you tend to have a bullish lean. That's exactly what we had today. A bullish breakout here. So weekly higher low is set at this point. Any pullback at this point, anything above 473.61, looking for a weekly higher low for further trend continuation here. Your previous all-time highs, let's just call it 500 for all intents and purposes, are going to be heavy support at this point. So any move lower, guys, when this move tops out, not even overbought on the daily RSI. Short-term timeframes, yes. Hourly is absolutely to the moon right now. 4-hour is overbought as well, right? So any pullback here, guys, is just going to be looking, even at that, for a daily higher low right here. The daily bulls have engulfed this entire move down. So now we'll be looking to reset the daily uptrend, right? Daily uptrend needs a higher low, and then you will have a higher high. That will be the reset of a new daily uptrend. Looking beautiful for NVIDIA. Blue sky breakout underway. Weekly uptrend reconfirmed at this point. And now, most importantly, guys, the monthly uptrend by NVIDIA. And I will remind you, for everybody that's saying NVIDIA is expensive right now, right? Trailing 12-month basis, I'll give it to you. But NVIDIA's quarter, the true trailing 12 months, will be in February. Now we're still getting Q1 where they didn't address the new sales verticals of the data warehousing with their H100 chips, right? So we're still running 1 quarter behind NVIDIA launched this entirely brand new business vertical. So if you take an eye here, guys, what that means to say is NVIDIA cheap on a forward basis or not? So here's their EPS before launching this new sales vertical with AI software, right? And here's going to be the ending estimate for 2023, the true trailing 12-month EPS that we're going to get in a month. Expectation is $12.26. So $520, which is current price, divided by 12.16, trailing 12 months PE ratio is 42. 42. A little bit rich, perhaps, but let's take it out to 2024. 2024 ending EPS right here, 20.72. All right, so let's keep it on this. $520 share price divided by 20.72. 2024 ending PE ratio, 25. 25. Not that expensive anymore, is it? Take your 2025 ending EPS. And NVIDIA is the leader in this new business vertical that they're doing. They only have one other competitor as of recently, guys, and that's AMD, who came out a month and a half ago saying they were going to compete with NVIDIA. But NVIDIA has such a head start, guys, that these EPS numbers would not surprise me if they do smash them. They're pretty much one of 2 players in the entire space attacking this new vertical right now. So really not a lot of competition. And as a whole, the big tech is not big. The rest of big tech is not going to compete with them so far. They would rather use NVIDIA's services, which they have been doing, which is why the rest of your big tech here, they are NVIDIA's clients for this new service. They're not trying to compete with them as of yet so far. 2025 earnings, guys, 520 divided by your 2025 earnings here of 24.06, right? 2-year forward PE ratio, 21. So is it expensive? Is it not? I'll leave that up to you here, guys. But the numbers, when you look at the true EPS, do paint a different story. So NVIDIA, blue sky breakout looking amazing. And now moving on to Tesla here, guys. So Tesla recovering nicely intraday here, but once again here, guys, unfortunately, Elon Musk at the head of some headlines here. But so what exactly came out? On the weekend, the Wall Street Journal said that Elon Musk was using a lot of drugs in the past couple of years, anything from ketamine, magic mushrooms, marijuana, cocaine potentially. They pretty much threw everything at him. But now Elon Musk claims not even trace amounts of drugs in his system after the report detailed drug concerns from Tesla, SpaceX execs. And this is true here, guys, right? So Elon Musk denied using illegal drugs on Sunday, claiming not even trace quantities of drugs or alcohol were found in his body over 3 years of random drug tests after a report in the Wall Street Journal detailed how the Tesla CEO and SpaceX founder's drug use worries colleagues in leadership positions at his companies. So don't take the headlines at the face value, guys. When that came out over the weekend, I knew, listen, as a CEO of a company, he is due to take drug tests, right? So here's the thing. According to Musk, he agreed to undergo random drug testing for 3 years after his appearance on the podcast. This is the whole Joe Rogan podcast where he had a couple puffs of marijuana on the stream, and people had a lot of pushback for that, obviously. So after this appearance on the podcast, and claimed not even trace quantities were found in any drugs or alcohol. And one of his attorneys actually reiterate this, right? An attorney for Musk, Alex Spiro, confirmed to the Wall Street Journal the billionaire has never failed a test and said the newspaper report included false facts. So that's what came out over the weekend on Tesla here, right? So unfortunately, Elon Musk once again being plagued with negative headlines, but the stock price reacting fairly positively with the rest of the market here. Not as bullish as the rest of the market, but still coming up. Size of the bounce is going to be key here on Tesla here, guys. So let's keep an eye on that. Same as the rest of our charts right here, right? So what we were looking out for, weekly higher low was set. Just looking out for a new weekly higher low. Anything above 227, just looking for that to be your weekly higher low. So we'll see, can the bulls put in enough of a bounce? It's going to require a heck of a bounce here, guys, because the bears, right? The bears put in a heck of a move here. Daily uptrend was lost, right? The bears are looking to set the daily lower high. How high will this lower high be? Well, if you want it to be the most bullish possible, we need to get above 253. The bulls can put in a heck of a bounce all the way up to 253. It opens the door for daily higher low and recapture of the daily uptrend here. So we'll see if the bulls are able to muster that, or if they just fail here, tag the higher end of this range right here, this whole range right here, which is about 247. Moving averages are there. If they get rejected from this here, guys, and start trending back to your lows, well, we'll see. The lower lows, probabilities-wise, are highly likely. In that case, the bulls will not have put in a high enough of a bounce to guarantee a daily uptrend change. The probabilities will favor a lower low scenario. So just keep an eye on that, excuse me, guys, and earnings obviously here into Wednesday. So that will play a key pivotal role. But as a whole, Tesla doing a good job here of defending lower levels. Any move lower, guys, 230 down to 200, even with earnings, I will heavily be playing Tesla options in this area. Now our two last ones, Palantir and PayPal here, guys. Palantir, not looking too bad at all here, guys. 4.5% almost to the upside, right? We were looking for the size of the bounce here. Daily downtrend well confirmed by the bears at this point. Nice little reaction in our lower area here, guys. This was the weekly range, right? Weekly support range. I know it's a bit of a wide range, but this has been the chop zone for a better part of 2023, second half of 2023, after Palantir started posting really good earnings and posting positive quarter after quarter of positive EPS here. So 1550 all the way down to 14 is going to be that area of support down here for PayPal, right? So PayPal for Palantir, right? So bounce underway. Size of the bounce is crucial, right? Your lower time frames are now back in control. Hourly uptrend is in motion here. 4-hour uptrend is now recaptured by the bulls as well. We'll see how long this bounce lasts, right? Size of the bounce is decent so far. Overhead averages, moving averages as resistance, and 1716 now will be acting as overhead resistance as well. How high do we need to get for possible bullish reversal? Well, need to get as high as about 1710 here, guys. So if we can get as high, which is funny, if we can get as high pretty much as the level I just pointed out as resistance, if we can get as high as that, the bulls will have a good chance at resetting for a daily uptrend reversal here. That is if they don't V-shape it, right? Probabilities wise, after such a deep move, you are looking for a lower high, and then it's up to the bulls to prove to us, do they want to reset the daily uptrend, or will we just roll over from here and roll over into lower lows, right? Weekly downtrend is obviously well in motion by the bears as well. In terms of the monthly, you are just in monthly sideways consolidation. Bulls, after this most recent move up, just looking for a monthly higher low here, anything above 1389, right? Just looking for a monthly higher low for potential set of a new monthly uptrend. Monthly moving averages are right down here in this zone contested area, right? 1550-ish, right? All the way down to about 1525. Monthly moving averages, and those are no joke here, guys, right? You see how long the bulls have been holding the 26, this orange line right here, and now the 12 as well is coming in as support. So Palantir potentially finding a local bottom. As long as we stay down in this area, guys, 16 to about 14, I will continue to write options and build a bigger Palantir position. Want to be running that into the $20, $21 range for the next upswing here. So Palantir looking fairly good. Just keep an eye, guys, size of the bounce to reset the daily uptrend here. And then we'll see, can the bulls reverse this weekly downtrend as well? That will require a bounce as high as 1855, engulf the second leg down, and then potentially reset for the weekly uptrend. And now lastly, PayPal. PayPal, heck of a nice move, guys. The last 2 days on PayPal reacting beautifully from our area of congestion here. This was previous support for a long time. It acted as resistance a couple times, reacted as support over here, and now support once again here. That was our 5750 level. So tag that pretty beautifully now. Daily bulls coming back with a vengeance here, guys. We got the weekly higher low at this point too. But before we tackle the weekly, guys, getting ahead of myself, daily bounce, size of the bounce is key. Look at the size of this bounce here, guys. After having lost the daily bull flag, daily consolidation here, look at the size of this bounce here, guys. Very beautiful engulfing move at this point. Over your 6.8%, almost up to 80% of recapturing this move. So now the bears are set up, the bulls are set up beautifully, regain the moving average as well. Bulls are set up beautifully for potential reversal here into a new daily uptrend. That is if they don't engulf this right away and sit on this higher level right here, right? Come back, break out, retest it. Since it's such a deep move down, I'm expecting lower high and then the bulls to reset the daily uptrend to the upside here. Looking fairly decent with the most recent price action in the last 2 days. On the weekly as well, let me just expand this weekly chart because PayPal is just crushed to oblivion. So the chart is fairly small down here. So weekly, what are we looking for on the weekly here, guys? We are looking just for the weekly higher low for further weekly trend continuation here. Really need to start engulfing this guy right here, guys, if you want to have a good chance of really getting your higher time frames involved, which is your monthly time frame as well. I know you didn't see it too well. We'll get to that after. So weekly uptrend confirmed right now. Just looking for a weekly higher low. Anything above $54 was just looking for a weekly higher low for further trend continuation. You can see we're defending this 12 EMA very nicely here after having lost it for the longest time here. Need to defend this. So weekly higher low is set. Going to be looking for a break. Continue this weekly uptrend right here. And on your monthly here, guys, monthly is pretty much, higher. We need to first take out this big weekly level right here, engulf this move around 65, right? Will be a very beautiful engulfing weekly move. And then you'll be onto your $75 range, which will be the engulfing of the monthly. So one thing at a time, right? Just need to recapture the 65 area. It's the top of this downtrending trend line as well. It's your most recent the start of the most recent weekly leg down when the bears took control. So your 65 level, if we recapture this, guys, big pivotal moment for PayPal. So we'll see, can the bulls do this? First things first, give me the new daily uptrend one way or another. So that's it for today's video here, guys. Don't want to keep it too long. I'll do a portfolio update tomorrow. Not many positions open today. I actually only covered calls on Google. So same portfolio markup as of last Friday. Just keep an eye on last Friday's video if you want to see it again. So I'll be doing a portfolio update tomorrow. Didn't write any positions today here, guys. Had a few meetings and appointments this week, this morning early, and I only got back to my computer around 11:30. And by that time, the market, everything had pretty much rallied so hard that there wasn't many opportunities here to write some options in the market here today. So I'll be looking out tomorrow to see what we can put together. If not, just riding the rest of my positions long and writing covered calls into this recovery cycle here of the last few trading days. So I hope you guys liked today's video. A lot of information, I know, but I feel it was worthwhile information to go over. As usual, guys, if you may like the video, guys, I would highly appreciate that. Helps me out. And consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. 600 subscribers, guys. We hit a next milestone. Now take us up to 1,000. Let's go, guys. I love you all for doing that. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to put them down in the comments. I'll answer you as soon as possible. Take care, guys. See you tomorrow after the close. Peace.